So today we're going to go back to some of those multiplication skills we built a few weeks ago, and we're going to have a look at how different multiplications can be combined. So that's where we're going to start. And then we're going to have a look at reading train timetables, something which can seem quite complicated, and we're going to really try and break that down so we can plan different journeys. So hopefully today is going to be really, really useful. Let's get going on some of those multiplication skills.
So we're going to go back to some questions we did around multiplication. We had a look at, if we didn't know the number fact 9 multiplied by 6, how we could break it down into parts to help us to do that calculation. And we said, well, what we could do is keep the 6 the same and split the 9 into a part of 5 and a part of 4. So this green area is 5 6s, 30. And then the white area, 4 6s is 24. So 9 6s is the same as 5 6s, add 4 6s. And we said we could also break it down into, let's say, 6 6s and 3 6s. I could split the 9 into 6 and 3. So do 36, add 18 as well. Or let's say 8 7s are 56. I could break that down into 2 lots of 4 7s. Or equally, I guess I could instead split up the 7 and have 8 times 5 and 8 times 2, which is the same as 8 times 7. I quite like that one because I like this addition here. 40 plus 16 for 56. And then we had a look at two-digit times single-digit examples. So 14 times 6, split the 14 into a 10 and a 4. So 60 in this space here, this green space, 24 in the white space. Equally, I could split the 14 down into a 9 and a 5 as well. So there's lots of different ways it can be done. Now, ways to make 8 times 7 equals 56. So I've put some different parts for that calculation that we could have. And I'm going to show you one pair that you could use. So you could have 8 times 1 is 8, and 8 times 6 is 48. And so what I've done is I've split the 7 up into 6 and 1. 8 times 1 and 8 times 6 in total is 8 times 7. Now, pause the video. Can you find any other pairs, any other combinations to make up that 8 times 7? Okay, if you're ready, let's have a look. We could have had 8 times 3 and 8 times 4. In total, those two pieces are 8 times 7 in total. We could also have 2 times 7 and 6 times 7 in total. That is 8 lots of 7 as well. And then we've got poor old 3 times 7 all by itself. So ways to make 7 times 6 equals 42. Have a think. Can you think of any combinations of multiplication facts you could use to make 7 times 6 equals 42? Pause the video and have a go at some. Okay, let's have a look at some possible combinations. Of course, you could do this in different ways. It could be 7 times 3 equals 21 and another 7 times 3. That's a way of breaking down 7 times 6. Or maybe 7 times 4 and 7 times 2 is 7 times 6. Or equally, it could be 3 lots of 6 and 4 lots of 6. Makes 7 lots of 6 in total. So different ways there. Now, it might be you can manage one more. And again, if you want to skip this one, that's fine. But I thought if you want a little bit more challenge, here's one. Ways to make 12 times 9 equals 108. I wonder if you can pause the video and find any combinations here. Okay, let's have a look at any ones that we found. Well, how about this? We've got 8 times 9 and 4 times 9. Makes a total of 12 times 9. I wonder if you found this one. 12 times 4 and 12 times 5 in total is 12 times 9. And then actually we can combine these three. 7 lots of 9 and 3 lots of 9 is 10 lots of 9. And 2 more lots of 9, that's 12 lots of 9 in total. Lots and lots of different ways, of course, it can be done.
So today's video is called Planning a Journey. We're going to have a look at reading timetables. We're going to break that skill down. And then we've got some questions at the end for you to have a go at and some things to think about as well in terms of how we plan a journey in given contexts. So hopefully this is all going to make sense when we get into our activity. This is what a train timetable might look like. So this is the route for a train that goes from Penrith right up in the north west of England down to Manchester Airport, and it stops at Lancaster, Preston, Wigan, Manchester, Piccadilly, and then the final stop is Manchester Airport. We've got all these different times. So here we have this first train that arrives in Penrith at 7:20, and then we can see where the time it gets to Lancaster, and then Preston, and then Wigan, and so on. So this is the first train, and then we've got the second train and the third train, and so on. And when people see a timetable like this, they've got to think, right, which train should I catch? So let's say we were going from Lancaster. We can see when the trains get in and leave to Lancaster, and so they're the times I would need to look at. Now, if I'm focusing on one journey in particular, let's say I'm looking at the first train, then these are the times that this first train sets off from each station. And we can see that this is one journey that the one train goes through. So this is the timings for just the second train here. So the second train leaves Penrith at 7:45, and we can see all the times for the other stops, and it gets to Manchester Airport at 9:35. Now again, in the previous video we looked at how these will be AM times, because PM times will be given in 24-hour clock. However, if we were looking just at the trains that leave Lancaster, we've got the first train leaves Lancaster at 8 o'clock, and then the second one at 8:25, and the third one at 8:50, and the fourth one at 9:10. So again, if I'm thinking about which train do I catch from Lancaster, I can see those times are showing me the four trains from Lancaster when they leave. So let's have a look at this question. What time does the third train leave Preston? So I've got to have a look here, and so this is the first train and the second one, and this is the third one, and it leaves Preston at 9:15. Okay, your turn. What time does the second train leave Penrith? Pause the video. Okay, so we have a look. So this is the first train. So the second train from Penrith is at 7:45. Now, a different type of question you might be asked is this one. How long is the journey from Penrith to Wigan? So there, what I would need to do is look at this journey. Let's say this one from Penrith to Wigan. Now, all these trains, the journeys take the same length of time. But let's have a look at this first one. Penrith, so it starts at 7:20, and to get to Wigan, it's 8:30, and that is 1 hour and 10 minutes for that journey. So I need to look at when I set off and when I get in, and how long has passed. Okay, so it's your turn. How long is the journey from Lancaster to Preston? Pause the video. Okay, so you could look at any of those journeys. Let's say it could be this one you looked at from Lancaster to Preston, and we'd have 10 more minutes to get to 9 o'clock and 15 more minutes, 25 minutes in total. Just like here, this is probably the easiest one to look at. 8 o'clock from Lancaster, 8:25 in Preston. So the journey is 25 minutes long. Here's another different type of question. I get to Wigan Station at 9:30. What time does the next train leave? Well, let's have a look. Wigan Station, these are all the times the trains from Wigan. So if I get there at 9:30, well, I will have just missed the 9:20 train. That will have gone 10 minutes ago. So the next train will be at 9:40. There. So again, it's your turn. I get to Lancaster Station at 8:55. What time does the next train leave? Pause the video. Okay, let's have a look at all those. So 8:55. Oh, so I won't quite have got the third train. I'll be on the fourth train, and that leaves at 9:10. Now, this is another step up in the challenge here. I get to Wigan Station at 9:30. When will I arrive at Manchester Airport? So I'd have to think, well, which train will I be on? So I get to Wigan Station at 9:30. Let me have a look. Oh, I wouldn't be in time for the 9:20 train, so I'd have to get on the 9:40 train. So when will I get to Manchester Airport? I would get there at 10:20. There. Okay, so it's your turn. I get to Penrith Station at 7:30. When will I arrive in Wigan? Will it be at 8:30, at 8:55, or at 9:35? Pause the video, see if you can work that out. Okay, let's have a look. Well, if I get to Penrith at 7:30, again, I won't have got the 7:20 train, that will have gone. So the next one is at 7:45. So when will I get to Wigan? Well, it will be this one here, at 8:55. Now, I'm going to show you some questions and how they're slightly different based on the situation. So I've agreed to meet a friend at Manchester Piccadilly at 9:30 a.m. Which train should I get from Penrith Station? So if I have a look at the times the trains get to Manchester Piccadilly, there's one train that arrives at 9 o'clock and another that's 9:25. And if I'm meeting a friend, I could think, yeah, if I get on this train, it'll arrive at Manchester Piccadilly at 9:25. That seems perfect. So the train from Penrith, the 7:45 train. Now, have a look at this. This question might seem the same. I have a job interview at Manchester Piccadilly at 9:30. Which train should I get from Penrith Station? Now you might think, well, that's just the same. I need to get the train that arrives at 9:25 before my interview. The only thing is, I think if it was me and I was going for a job interview, I'd want to get there more than 5 minutes before it started, just so I could get ready and in case the train was a little bit late. So whilst you could get this train, I don't think I'd want to. I think I'd probably get the one before that got there at 9 o'clock. That'd give me a little bit of time to prepare and just in case that train was late. So I think I would get the train that leaves, in that case, at 7:20.
So to find today's questions, click on that blue link underneath the video. You've got task A and task B. They're very similar, based on the same train timetable, the trains travelling from Macclesfield through Poynton, Cheadlehume, Stockport, and arriving in Manchester Piccadilly. So have a go at answering the questions about that train timetable there. Now, if I just show you task B, there's an extend task, which is think of a question with an answer of 11 minutes. So you're going to have to think about these times here. Think, what question could you ask that has an answer of 11 minutes? So very interested if you manage to come up with that question. Anyway, as normal, the answers are at the bottom. It's fantastic having you joining in. Thanks for doing that. I'll see you again tomorrow.